And welcome to another Cardinals Nest here on HBC Channel 25. I'm Dean Beckman, joined with Sports Information Director Donny Nadeau, and today our feature is men's basketball. We have the head coach, Todd Landrum, on the show, along with his 6'8" post player, Michael Burfeind. So guys, thanks for being on the show here. And Michael, let's start with you today. First time on the Cardinals Nest, so we have a newbie here. We'll try not to pick on you too much, but Michael, you are from the area, so you might recognize him. He's from Lewiston. But Michael, tell us when you sort of got started with basketball and the Lewiston program there, and then how you found your way to St. Mary's University.
At a very young age. I mean, I loved basketball from the first time I, touched a basketball, and ever since, shooting in the driveway, been doing that forever, and I don't know, grew up and just loved playing the game. Eventually made it here, and I've loved it here ever since. Coach Landrum helped me make that decision. I love playing basketball, and I'm glad this is the place I ended up.
Yeah. Coach Michael was one of your first recruits when you came on board here at St. Mary's, and not to put Michael on the spot, but as he heads into his senior year, you've got an all-conference performer here. When he was a senior coming out of Lewiston, did you see this in him as you were recruiting him?
Well, Michael was somebody that I think he might have been the first underclassman that we checked on. We arrived here late. We had to try to patch some things together very late, but then soon focused. And Mike was a very top priority for us. And he could shoot the ball. He had size, and usually bigger than average players are going to be better players when they're 20 and 22 than when they're 17. So we were thrilled when Mike chose St. Mary's. Quick thing about Mike growing up. Mike's neighbors as a youngster were the Zeller brothers, who play at North Carolina, Indiana, and in the NBA. So Mike could have been a two-guard if the Zellers would have stayed in Lewiston.
If nothing else, Mike, you had some good competition on the playground growing up.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, they were fun to be around, and it was sad to see them leave. I would have loved to have played with them in high school. That would have been great.
Mike, talk a little bit about the progression that you've made now, as we talked a little bit about you coming in as a freshman. Boom, you're right in the lineup right away as a freshman. Talk a little bit about what it was like then, and now as you come into your senior year, the difference maybe mentally as well as physically, because obviously you're not the skinny kid that you were when you got here as a freshman.
Yeah, I've gained a lot of weight over the years and got a lot stronger. But back when I was a freshman, the older guys really helped me out a lot. They're the reason that I'm here today, and it's my job to help the newer post players that are here now, help them get to where I've gotten to. So. That's just the plan for this year.
Coach, you were blessed last year to have a great senior leader in Pat Freeman, and now you have Mike Burfeind. Talk about the importance of the leaders like that, because Pat was a great one, and now I'm assuming Mike's sort of picking up in that role.
Yeah, but what we've tried to tell Mike is there are different personalities, and we've just asked Mike to be Mike. If Mike is just Mike, he has a natural leadership that guys follow him. He leads by his example every day. He's probably one of our hardest workers, one of our great competitors on the team, and that's how we don't ask Mike to be anything. We don't ask him to be Pat Freeman. We just want him to be Mike Burfeind. That'll be good enough.
Talk a little bit about the year you've got coming up. If you look at the roster, you've got 5 seniors, no juniors, lots of freshmen and sophomores, so a lot of younger players. How much will the older players, just in terms of their experience as upperclassmen, help out the younger guys?
Well, quite honestly, Donnie, that's going to be up to them. If you're going to be a leader, and it's important, I've always stressed to the players, you get 4 years to play college basketball. What's it going to be for you? What's your legacy going to be? Are we finally going to be the team that breaks through after 50, 60 years? And so it's up to them. I can't make that happen. It's up to them to decide. And they've had good examples with Pat Freeman, and hopefully they will continue to reach back. So far, they've done a great job with it. Great job with it, and that has to continue.
Well, and Mike, as far as that goes, you'll finally start facing some competition other than practice. So in your estimation, how has practice been going? How's the team looking early on here?
Practice has been going great, I think. I think the intensity has been, where it needs to be. As far as the upcoming year, it'll be definitely nice to play some other people besides, the guys I see every day in practice.
Right.
But I don't know. Some of the new guys, the freshmen. There's definitely some freshmen that are going to help us out on the court this year, and you know, as a senior, we need, like Coach said, we need to lead by example, and we need, if we're having a bad practice or something like that, we need to get on the guys and tell them to pick it up and stuff like that. So.
Right.
Coach, it's got to feel good for you coming into the season, having your middle, so to speak, returning and really recognized conference players. You've got Mike in the middle at the post as an all-conference player, and then you've got Evan Peterson as your guard, who was all-first team in the MIAC last year. It's got to be nice to have that nucleus to start building this year with.
Well, we hope to be strong up the middle, although Mike is going to be playing a little different role. He's going to be playing both inside and out. His skill set has allowed him to be a guy that can probably play all over the court now. I have to say, I've coached for many, many years, as you know, and I would say Mike is one of the young men I'm most proud of and most excited about coaching. I think he's a guy that could really leave an imprint on this basketball program. And he's a young man that local kids look to, and now we hear, oh, Mike Burfeind went to your school. The kids in Wisconsin, Evan Peterson, went to your school. So we're becoming more recognized, and it's because of guys like Mike Burfeind.
Mike, talk a little bit about that, what Coach just said, in terms of you playing a little bit different position. Is that something that excites you, or makes you nervous, or how do you approach being not only the post player but also somebody who's going to be playing from the outside?
It definitely excites me. You know, I kind of like, you know, getting beat up by the big guys down low gets a little old once, you know, after a while. So it's nice to step outside and you know, have that be a part of my game. So.
Coach, I find it interesting, and we've had this conversation before. You look at Mike here, and he's got this big giant smile on his face, but it's a pretty safe bet that I don't want to meet him on the court. His personality changes a bit when he hits the court.
You know, so many people talk to me about Mike. You know, Mike's a really nice, quiet guy, which he is. He's a terrific guy. But something kind of happens to him when he crosses the line, and we've seen it every year. And that's actually what you want. You know, you want him to be a Boy Scout off the court and a little bit of a, pardon the expression, a little bit of an assassin on the court. And he's able to change those personalities. And his competitiveness and toughness has grown incredibly. And that's one of his trademarks.
You know, I'm sure he'd probably be thrilled if we'd stop talking about him. But talk a little bit about some of the other players you've got on the team, both returners and newcomers, who are hopefully going to become household names as the season and the years progress.
Well, you know, very quickly, you know, we have Tom Gores from Rochester and Josh Bennett from the cities. We have Joe Murray from Chicago, who underwent the knee problems in the past. Joe has really emerged, maybe one of the most improved players that I've been around. Hopefully I'll be saying that in 25 games. And Joe, because of Joe's emergence, this has allowed us to do other things with Mike. And so that's been very helpful. And our sophomores came back. They sort of learned lessons from last year, and they did something about it over the summer. We hated to lose Brandon Larson, who would have been probably a starter on the wing for us with ACL, but he came back in tremendous shape. And our freshman class is very comparable to the one that Mike was. Our first recruiting class. And so, you know, Will Swigum from St. Charles and Sam Ruth from PEM and Trent Vicks from Rushford, kind of a local flavor, and everyone will have a chance to contribute.
This weekend, of course, you begin with the Northwestern College tip-off tournament. You did have a chance to get in one exhibition game against Winona State. Coach, tell us what you learned from that exhibition game, what went well, what you'd like to see some improvement on before this weekend's tournament.
Well, when the score was 15-3, I was making sure that maybe they'd keep the clock running. But our guys, what they showed was a lot of toughness. Yeah. And I think, they're the number 7 Division II team in the country, let's be honest about it. But I think that middle 25 to 28 minutes, if you look at the film, our first 5 set plays, we had a wide open look inside on everyone. So we knew we were doing the right thing, defended them very well, I thought, at times. So I took it that we're a little farther ahead than I thought, and I thought that we played with a great deal of toughness, and that's real important in our program.
Coach, as you know, I called that game for HBC. I came away incredibly impressed. At one point in the second half, it was a 6-point game, and in an exhibition game, you're not looking at the scoreboard all that close, but Michael, I think it had to feel good that you hung with them for an extended period of time in that game.
Oh, definitely. It always feels good to hang with a team like that. I mean, they're ranked 7th in Division II, so I mean, it's fun to play a team like that. You know, they're a lot, you know, bigger than us, and they're stronger. But you know, we hung with them, and I thought we played pretty well. And I would love to have another shot against them.
You know, Coach, I found it interesting when we talked after that game. You made the comment that for a lot of these guys, it didn't really matter who they were playing because they just wanted to get out there and play. And I think that that's a great attitude for your team to have, especially playing in the MIC, because you've got some, you know, incredibly talented Division III teams in that conference. For them to just go out and play what you're supposed to play is a pretty good trait to have.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss. You know, sometimes our young guys aren't really quite sure who we're playing. Now, all the local guys who grew up with Winona State, that was a great opportunity for them. And I really liked the way they didn't get nervous. They just went out and played. And then we had some guys on our team that, what's Winona State? That's, you know, they have a lot of people down there, you know. So, and we have great respect for their program. And it's a privilege for us to be on the same court with them, don't get me wrong. But we did have some guys who were just oblivious to who we were playing. And that can be a good thing sometimes.
And probably this weekend that'll be a good thing as well. Nobody on your team has played Northwestern or North Central, so it's new to all of them. Talk a little bit about the weekend and what you guys expect from this weekend.
Well, I think, first of all, Northwestern is a team that went to the NCAA tournament last year, lost in the first round to the eventual national champion. They have a lot of players back. It's their first home game. We know what goes along with all that, so it'll be a great challenge. I think the most important thing for us is not to worry about if it's Winona State or it's Northwestern. Do what we do and be the best, play against ourselves, be the best team we can be, and then let's just try to go 1-0 every night.
Todd, one final thing here. Last year, I thought the schedule was, again, pardon the expression, really screwy. This year, it seems to be a little bit more balanced. There is one stretch, you have 3 consecutive road games. Later, though, there are 3 consecutive home games. Just talk about the schedule, how it plays out this year.
Well, our non-conference schedule is a little different. Last year, I had anticipated Chris Palmer being back and not being a father and home, and I anticipated Joe not having knee surgery, and I anticipated Pat not having knee problems, and I was going to take on the world. We thought we'll go play 2 great teams in Texas and all that. This year, our non-conference schedule, I'm a little disappointed. We're supposed to play UW River Falls in this tournament. They switched it 2 weeks ago. As far as the conference, Dean, that's a puzzle we try to solve every spring, and with 11 teams and the requirements of doubleheaders and travel, we just show up and play.
Right.
We have no control over it.
Yeah, I just remember those long bus rides
well,
back
we don't have to go to St. John and Concordia the same week.
Yeah,
We'll be on
remember
campus
that?
for 16 hours.
That was just so strange to me last year. So,
Michael, one
I'm
last
glad
question
that
for you,
doesn't
too.
happen.
If you could just kind of, you know, and I hate to do this to you, but just kind of reflect on this senior season and what you want to get out of it in terms of being a senior and leaving that legacy that Coach Landrum talked about.
Well, first of all, we haven't made the playoffs, you know, since I've been here, and I'm not sure when the last time was that we made the playoffs. So that's definitely a goal this year. You know, just to get to that 26th game and be able to, you know, keep the season going. That'd be something really special for us, I think. And you know, I think we could do it this year with all the pieces that we have.
And individually, I know that you probably don't know this, or maybe you do. 292 points away from 1,000. What would that mean to you?
You know, it would mean a lot, but not as much as, you know, us coming together as a team and making the playoffs and, you know, just having a good season all together. I would, you know, gladly take less points per game than I had last year just to have, you know, some more wins on the schedule, that's for sure.
All right, Michael Burfeind, Todd Landrum, thanks as always for being on the program, and good luck here this weekend in the Northwestern College Tip-Off Tournament.
Thank you.
All right, stay tuned. Donnie and I will be right back to recap the past week in St. Mary's sports right here on HBC Channel 25.
We're a small town store. Everything relies on our internet, our pumps, our registers, everything. So we need somebody that is willing to go that extra mile for us. Jill is awesome. She is very personable. When we call them, they react to us as if we are top on their list. And to me, that is #1. I've had excellent service.
Call Jill and find out what excellent business service is like.
A state-of-the-art fiber optic network. Sure, you've all heard that. But what does it mean? Well, if you're an HBC customer,
It's television in crystal clear high definition and whole home DVR. Blazing fast internet speeds, perfect for gaming or movies. Phone service with your choice of features, including unlimited long distance. And now, HBC has expanded service throughout much of southeast Minnesota. Call today and see what it's like to be on a state-of-the-art fiber optic network with a local company receiving national recognition for their service.
You know, we're doing things in bus magazines and the newspapers and things like that, and it's just like we seemed like we needed a different media, and we thought, you know, TV, perfect. Laura, she is awesome. She came out the first time. She was very, very personable, tends to your needs. I mean, anything that you needed, she was right there. I literally, seriously, have been wanting to make more commercials just because it was such a great, fun process. I would recommend HBC to anybody.
Call Laura for details on how to get a free commercial for your business.
And we're back here on the Cardinals Nest. Dean Beckman along with Sports Information Director Donny Nadeau. Glad you could tune in here to Channel 25. And now we'll recap the past week in St. Mary's sports. And Donny, this has been one of the most successful weeks in years for St. Mary's. We'll start off with men's hockey because they had a doubleheader sweep over the weekend. This has been a year of many firsts for men's hockey, but the way they have started out, the way they're coming out and they're getting the leads in games and they're holding the leads, which was something that they really struggled with a season ago where they, you know, it seemed like they were leading every game and then in the third period would sort of give it up. But now, at least early on, things are going well for Coach Moore.
Yeah, no question. I think part of it, too, is you talk about their habit of giving up leads late last year. The thing about this year is defensively they're so solid. You know, the last 3 games that they've played, they've given up 2 goals in each of those games. And when you can hold your opponent to 2 goals or less, that's certainly going to bode well for you. When you look at Scholastica 5-2 and then, you know, the 2 wins over Hamlin. And what an offensive explosion for the Cardinals against Hamlin. And the game on Friday, a 9-2 win is just, you know, is just crazy. And they're just playing so well. They're so deep right now that you can put any line out there and you're going to get good offensive production. And you're going to get offensive production when you're killing penalties. You're going to get offensive production when you're on the power play. Right now, things are really clicking well for them. And I think that the next couple of weeks are going to say a lot about this team and where they're at in terms of the conference play.
Yeah, we had that game against Hamlin right here on Channel 25. It was Veterans Appreciation Night, thus the camouflage jerseys, which Coach Moore surprised the team with, right, Donnie? They had no idea they were going to be coming out in camouflage jerseys.
Right.
What was their reaction? What did you hear
Well,
in the locker room?
I think, you know, as Coach Moore talked about a little bit when he was on the program last week, you know, it's an important day. And the players understood that, and I think they were really pretty honored to be able to put on the camouflage and to honor the veterans that way. And you know, they couldn't have given the veterans a better performance than they did on Friday night. It was dominating from start to finish. And you know, as you're looking at the highlights, you can see it's different lines, it's different players scoring. You know, nobody more so than Mike Hill. And you've got to tip your cap to Mike. He's a freshman from Fort Worth, Texas, and is just hit the ground running this season. And he was named MIAC Player of the Week this week after scoring 4 goals and adding 3 assists for 7 points against the Pipers. A great honor for Mike and really for the program. You know, we keep talking about rebuilding this program. Mike's the first all-conference player since 2007 for the Cardinals. So it's been a long time since somebody has dominated in the conference, and Mike certainly is doing his part. He's had a point in every game that he's played this year, and is just really fun to watch. I mean, he is. I have yet to see a person that can release a shot as fast as he does.
Well, you know, and we had that game on the air, and we commented when the Cardinals got off to that 5-0 start about 6 minutes into the game that, you know, maybe Hamlin had trouble seeing them onto the ice due to the camouflage jerseys. But really, in all of the 4 Cardinals wins this year, they're 4-2 now, they have scored 5 goals or more in each of those contests. So this is not only a good defensive team, as you said, but a high-powered offensive squad as well.
Absolutely. And you look at, you know, like you said, every game they've had 5 or more goals. You look at, just take a look at Friday night's game. There were 7 players with 2 or more points in that game. 7 players, and that's a lot. You know, that's more than 2 lines. If you put 6 of those guys, that's 2 lines and 1 more person that had more than 1 point. And they're spreading the wealth. They're playing with some confidence, and that's huge. You know, you talk to Coach Moore anytime you want, and just the fact that they're playing with such confidence is certainly a huge boost. They've got a big test coming up on the 24th. They're off this weekend, so they've got the conference bye, but they've got a huge test when they go to Adrian, Michigan to take on Adrian. Right now, heading into this weekend, Adrian is 4-0 and ranked number 5 in the country in the latest USCHO.com poll. So that's going to be a huge test for them. And then they get to square off against the U.S. National Development Under-18 team, the same team that's played the Gophers, the Sioux, and with the Badgers. So that's going to be that'll be a great experience for them. I'm sure that Coach Moore would love to beat them, but it's an exhibition game. They'll probably try and get some different people into the lineup. But a great experience to go to Ann Arbor and kind of just see what it's like for that national development team and what they do, and a big weekend for them because that Adrian game may not be a conference game, but it's huge in terms of really kind of showing where the Cardinals are at.
You know, we talk about the excitement of their 4-2 start. Would Coach Moore want us to pump the brakes a little bit, to say, hold on here, let's see how, I mean, it's a long season, obviously. They don't play at home again until the end of this month after Thanksgiving on November 30th when they host St. Olaf. But I've got to believe there's a fair amount of excitement with Coach Moore and with the players in the locker room as there is with us who follow the team.
Oh, no question. But I think you're probably right. If Coach Moore was sitting here right now, he'd say, Donnie, just let's tone it down just a little bit. But, you know, it's fun to see them succeed, and it's fun to see them have success. And same on the women's side, same with women's basketball. You know, we talked to Coach Landrum, and there's a lot of buzz about the men's basketball team. And I think that they're going to have a really solid year this year. And I wouldn't be surprised, as Mike Burfeind said, I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the playoff hunt at the end of the year. So there's a lot of excitement going around campus right now. And, you know, for both hockey teams to sweep Hamlin on the conference opening season is outstanding, and you know, I think the important thing, like you and I had talked off camera, they need to make sure to keep it all in perspective because it's a long season and there's a lot of hockey left to be played. But you know, there's no reason that I'm not going to toot their horns because a 2-0 start for both of them in conference play is really nice to see.
Well, and as we see with the women's hockey team, a sweep over Hamlin, that Friday night game went into overtime. Coach Manor had to be thrilled just not to come out of there with a tie after all of the ties they had last year. And then another 1-goal win on Saturday.
Yeah, and you know, when they play Hamlin, it's been that way. Both games last year were 1-goal games, and so, you know, Coach Manor kind of expected that type of thing. I know he was thrilled to get the 2-1 win on Friday on the road in overtime. Overtimes are tough. You only have 5 minutes to play, and you know, for them to come away with a win there was great, and it was good to see them come up with the 4-3 win on Saturday to complete the sweep. Mackenzie Klimek had a great performance all weekend long with a goal and 3 assists, and you know, Mary DeBartolo had a couple of goals, and so again, they're spreading out the offense, and you know, the first weekend that they played, Brianna Peterson was the one that had you know, was the offensive spark plug. Well, this weekend it was Klimek and DeBartolo, so they're spreading that around a little bit. They're getting good goaltending from Sarah Gustafson and Tori Herman, and they're playing good defense. And so, you know, you look at the standings there, and to see St. Mary's on the top in both men's and women's is a lot of fun.
And should be a great matchup this weekend against St. Kate's, who we see with a similar record,
Absolutely.
the exact same
very,
record.
Very big weekend for them. St. Kate's and St. Mary's have always played tough, and this is going to be no different. Friday night will be a big contest at St. Mary's, and then they'll go up to Drake Arena in St. Paul for the rematch on Saturday. It's a big week every weekend. You know, we've talked about that in every sport we talk about. Every conference weekend is a big weekend, and you know, you can't take one off. They can't afford to you know, enjoy the success that they had last week because they've got to get ready for this week, and they've got to be ready to play. It's a new weekend, and they've got to be ready to go because St. Kate's is going to, you know, he's going to want those 4 points as badly as St. Mary's does.
Well, as much excitement as there is around the hockey teams, Donnie, there is just as much, if not even more excitement surrounding women's basketball. The coaches poll for the MIAC just came out. St. Thomas is #1, but St. Mary's not too far behind. They are expected, by the coaches anyway, to finish 4th, which is the longest time I can remember the highest St. Mary's has ever been.
Yeah,
right?
it's very exciting. And if things fell into place just like the poll, that would mean that we host a conference playoff game, and that hasn't happened in a long time. The Cardinals did make the tournament last year, and so they have that experience. They beat St. Olaf in their opening round before losing to St. Thomas in the semifinals. So this is a very experienced team. They've got 4 seniors, and all 4 of them have been with the program for 4 years and are extremely experienced. And you're including in that group of 4, you've got 2 first-team all-conference players in Jess Thone and Jamie Steffley, and then Courtney Early, a junior, was all-defensive team. So you've got some talent returning, and I think the expectations for this women's basketball team are very high. And I wouldn't say there's pressure on them because they kind of thrive on that, but there's some expectation that they should be competing not only for a home playoff berth, but really for a shot at the Tommies in in that top spot.
Well, and the expectation only heightened in their first exhibition game. Right here on Channel 25, Justin Barrientos had the call there, and they came out, went to Winona State, McCowan Gymnasium, and defeated the Division II Warriors.
Yeah, what a great win for the Cardinals. It had been a long time since they'd beaten Winona State, 2005 to be exact, but they came out and did exactly what Coach Pearson wanted them to do. They played a solid game, and very similar to what Coach Landrum said is they weren't intimidated by the aura of Winona State, the fact that they're Division II, the fact that they're a very good Division II basketball team. They went out and played their game and showed the people in Winona that St. Mary's basketball is for real.
Yeah, and this wasn't a buzzer beater. I mean, they really controlled that second half. It was pretty close at halftime, but really, I thought St. Mary's controlled and just didn't let up.
It was a 10 to 12 point lead for most of the second half. It finished to be a 6-point win, and Jess Thone and Jamie were outstanding. Jamie had 22 points and Jess had 16, and yes, I did jinx Jess, and she was perfect all the way around until I happened to say something and then missed her next field goal. But they're two very, very good players, and you add to that Courtney Athnos and Brittany Begerwitz as the 4 seniors, and boy, they've got some outstanding talent, and Coach Pearson's very high on a couple of her young newcomers. So it's going to be an exciting season for them, and I think that there's going to be a lot of teams in the MIC that are going to be a little nervous that St. Mary's is going to be, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Right, they have a transfer from Winona State, and their only loss from last year was Emily DeWitt. She was a great outside scoring threat, but I think Corinne McCollum can kind of pick up where Emily left off and graduated last year.
No question, and I think the key is going to be is they just have to continue to play their game, and they can't get caught up in how good people expect them to be and how the coaches said they're supposed to finish fourth and things like that. They've got to go out and perform because they've earned these expectations and they've earned these desires to make the playoffs and compete for conference championships, but you still have to go out there day in and day out and get the job done on the court, and that's the key is you can't get caught up. Any of these teams we've talked about, you can't get caught up in the hype. You can enjoy it, and you can let us hype you, but you still have to go out there and get the job done, and that's going to be a key for all of our winter sports is going out and getting the job done, no matter what has happened in the past or what people expect of you in the present and in the future.
And Donnie, finally, swimming and diving, how are things faring with that team?
Well, they had a great SMU Invitational last weekend. On the men's side, there were 8 first-place finishes, which was outstanding to see. P.J. Heller, a freshman, let the Winona people see him for the first time, and he had 3 first-place finishes all in the freestyle events. And then Mark Ross, who we've talked about so many times, he had 3 first-place finishes as well. And then Brian Baker swept the diving competition, so a solid performance from them. And on the women's side, Abby Kratzky had a first-place finish as the Cardinal women finished second in that event. Good showing for them. Always, Coach Lindquist loves to be at home once in a while, and so it was great for that. And then on Tuesday, as you're seeing the video here, the Hour of Power, a fundraiser for Jeremy Mullen from Carleton, and a great hour of just relay swimming. And it's one of those things that they do every year, and I know Coach Lindquist really enjoys that, and the athletes do as well.
Donnie, just a real short time left here. You've been SID for a long time at St. Mary's. I noticed in one of your write-ups you said this has been a terrific week for St. Mary's sports. It's been very successful.
It really has, and it was a fun weekend. When you talk about it, you've got 2 sweeps by the hockey teams. You've got the women's basketball team beating Winona State. You got the cross country teams doing really well in their regional, especially with Erin Haley finishing 40th in a solid time there. And then you've got the swimming team getting 9 first-place finishes when you combine the 2 teams. An outstanding weekend, and hopefully we get to have a lot more of those in the future.
All right, that's going to do it for the Cardinals Nest here on HBC. Thanks for watching. Tune in again for another Cardinals Nest on Channel 25.